Well, it's official. We've seen the very last speech of Liz Truss, with her going to give her resignation to the king, and of course, Rishi Sunak coming in to meet the king and take the oath before taking office. Now, I'm doing this shortly before Rishi Sunak gives his first proper speech outside number 10, because, to be honest, whatever Rishi Sunak has to say now isn't going to change the current situation. But before we get into talking about Rishi Sunak, we have to talk about the final moments of Liz Truss's premiership. Because even in her last moments, Truss absolutely refused to take any responsibility for the absolute mess that she has put this country in. Instead, saying that, maybe I went a bit too fast, a bit too quickly. I didn't quite lay the groundwork. And then finishing off by saying that even as PM, she has become more convinced that the UK needs this drastic policy shift that is the one thing that she wanted to tip the UK towards, this manic, libertarian, free market fundamentalist ideology, which no one in their right mind ever voted for in the UK. And unfortunately, in comes Rishi Sunak now, potentially going to follow that very same mandate, that very same ideas that Truss had. Remember, one of the big things during the Boris years was that Rishi Sunak and Boris Johnson had arguments. There was this constant rumor that flying around that Rishi Sunak would accuse Boris of not knowing about the economy, not knowing how our financial systems work. But Boris was like, no, let's spend money, which led to the ultimate crime of Boris being branded not a conservative, or even deadlier, not a true conservative. But even now, as Rishi Sunak comes in, there are Tories desperately trying to convince the public out there that Rishi Sunak is actually a moderate. No, Rishi Sunak is not a moderate. He was to the right of Boris Johnson when it came to fiscal policy. We are going to get more austerity, crazy austerity, and he's going to try and raise taxes. We don't know on who yet, but we'll probably find out potentially next Monday. We don't know yet because there might be a break. But he is going to try and sell more austerity to the British people at a time when the British people are already on their knees because of years of Tory austerity, something that Rishi Sunak advocated for and cheered on for and even voted for. And now his ideology wants to take it even further. We will see sweeping cuts target Britain's most apparently applauded people, according to the Conservatives. Oh, aren't they doing such a wonderful job? They were only applauding just under 2 years ago, but now in comes Rishi Sunak with his giant pair of scissor hands to come and start slashing budgets, slashing wages, and even slashing vital services, which we know as a UK we want. Time and time again, you look at the polls, even among Conservatives, we want good, high standards of public services. But if you want high standards of public services, then you have to pay for them. That is not beyond the realms of possibility. And everyone knows that is the case. But of course, Rishi Sunak is part of the model of the Conservatives who want a smaller state. And make no bones about it, it is very likely that Rishi Sunak will make the case that he wants to shrink the size of the state, that the state has gotten too big, that we've now got to shrink it down just a bit, guys. You know, it's gotten too bloated, too out of hand. So make no mistake, he will be coming to try and cut very vital services that we have relied on. Not only that, even more worryingly, there was, of course, the infamous video that was caught of him during the previous Tory leadership contest. and one of him saying that he diverted money from inner cities into a affluent area, which got him the moniker of that time of a reverse Robin Hood. And unfortunately, I fear that is what we could see very much as well. These poor areas who are in desperate need of cash to fund services, investment, create jobs in these areas where they are desperately needed, will instead be funneled away into the more affluent areas of the UK where, well, they're not needed because they're the affluent areas of the UK. They've already got the infrastructure, the jobs, the investment that they already need. Redistribution of wealth, I think, will become a major topic of conversation potentially at the next general election. And it is something that Labour has to get to grips with, something that Starmer really has to know. And especially at this time of very bad economic performance, and who knows even if Rishi is going to even get us out of it. But I'll tell you now, Starmer really has to present to the British public something very special. He can't just be austerity with a red rosette. He actually has to start putting forward good, practical, and progressive policies. And we know that they are there. We've talked about some before, with Rachel Reeves potentially being the most greenest chancellor the UK has ever had, which would be absolutely fantastic, and kickstarting a green revolution, which could effectively help reindustrialize areas of the north by investing into green technologies and making these green technologies viable. That is a good way to get growth. And there are other ways. There are other progressive economists out there talking about what Labour could do. And Starmer needs to step up. He needs to start engaging with these ideas and really start to put forward a better version of the UK. Because if not, Rishi Sunak is going to come in all smiles and delight, and oh, look how fantastic I am. I stabled the economy. Meanwhile, the poor people of the UK suffer because of the decisions for austerity that Rishi Sunak made. And the worry is that he is going to rob Peter to pay Paul. And that is what I worry about. That is what I seriously worry about. That the bill for this current economic crisis, which the Tories have done, is going to be leveled directly at the poorest in society. And unless Keir Starmer seriously starts to offer a different vision for the UK and how we can really build a proper and progressive society in the UK, I worry that rather than an outright Labour victory, instead we could end up with some sort of bizarre Labour Conservative hybrid, maybe even a coalition between the two. And who knows however that could end up. But as always, thank you very much for watching. Please do remember to hit that like, share, and subscribe button. And of course, down below, there are links to my Patreon page and a one-off donation link called Buy Me Coffee, where you can buy me coffee. And as always, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you all next time.